and welcome to another season of the CFL Dynasty League. I'm your commissioner, Steve Isaac, and I am so excited to bring back the podcast for the 24-25 season. There are some new features that we're going to bring you. As always, we're going to go through the matchups. We'll do pre-games. We'll follow it up the week later with post-games. We'll even have some off-season analysis in the first episode here. We got mini games, we got pools, we got pick'ems, we got all sorts of prizes. Everything always proving that this is the best Dynasty League in the world, without a doubt. What an off-season it was. We are hours away from the kickoff of the new season. Rosters are set. The cash money is in. I can't wait to start this thing off. Without further ado, let's get into our off-season recap. So to start the off-season, we had an absolute blast with the auction. 3 players going for over $1,000. Justin Jefferson and Tyreek for $1,000 each to Banditos and Grant respectively. And then BK Whopper securing their QB1 with $1,040 for Jordan Love. Honorable mention go to James, shelling out $970 for Dak. We'll see if that pays off. CMC at $895 to Nav. And then hanging with Hernandez. They made some moves. $855 for Kelsey. And then offloaded him. Some smart moves by those two guys. But the auction was an absolute blast. And moving into the rookie draft, which is what I wanted to highlight here, go through our top 10, because with Hildy sitting on that pick for a long time, we knew it was going to be Caleb Williams. Caleb, the future of the Bears quarterback room, probably going to set some records this year. Not going to lie, I am pretty jealous. Ev following up with Jaden Daniels at the 102, which could be something that his team really needs. Looks like that's going to be a good QB as well. Marvin Harrison Jr. went to Nav at the 3. We'll see if he is half as good as senior Harrison. BK Whopper with the 104 pick, taking Drake May, a little bit of a project there. Be interesting to watch. And Malik Neighbors. We'll see if Stu finally has a New York wide receiver that can put up some points in Neighbors. Nav with another Bear, Rome Odunze. Another Bear getting drafted in the first round here. And what a pick that one was as well. The 7, that hurt. Mitch, JJ McCarthy, unfortunately out for the year. But don't worry, he was gifted Sam Darnold to solve his QB problems. Hildy, a little bit of a homer pick in Brock Bowers at the 8 spot. And Italian Stallions following up with Brian Thomas Jr. at the 109. Could be a good pick in Jacksonville. Steal of the draft at the 10 spot, though. The Broncos' new franchise quarterback, Bo Nix, going to the Captains. And Xavier Worthy could be a good pick at the 111 by BK Whopper, who somehow managed to sneak in for a second pick in the first round as well. A little more bad luck with the 112, but the risk was baked in. James taking Jonathan Brooks, see if he gets into some action this year. But a pretty good first round, lots more action at the draft. And again, I really think this is one of the best leagues in the world because we have so much fun. So with the off-season fully in the books, it is now time for a quick recap of the 2023-24 season, in which we had another first-time winner. No back-to-back champs yet in the first 3 seasons of the CFL Dynasty League. Will that change this year? Nav, the champion from last year. I got to say, guys, the title match between Nav and Stu was pretty much down to the wire. It ended up 10 points in Nav's favor, but I think it was a lot closer than that when you really look at the numbers. Stu had also a hell of a season, but Nav, congrats. The team was stacked, I think your only loss was to me, which I will still hold on to that in my back pocket. But overall, a really good season, guys. Nav, Stu, great title match, and congrats, Nav, on the win. The best loser was Hildy taking out Ev in the toilet bowl. We'll see if those top two picks for Hildy and Ev can translate into something. But overall, guys, it was a pretty competitive season in 2023. And we'll see if these playoff teams, Mitch, Branditos, Italian Stallions, the Gronks, we know Hanging with Hernandez is not getting back there. And then Con, the last one in, BK Whopper, Con, and new manager Raheem. We'll see if they can look to get back into the playoffs this year. But out of James, the White Russian, Ev, the captains, and of course Hildy, I gotta say, I'm looking at 3 of these teams making the playoffs this year. James, you're an injury away from bottling it, but I think you're in. Chris, you've somehow turned your roster into a playoff caliber worthy team as well. And as I mentioned with the lunch bets, we all know that I'm making it in. So unfortunately, there's going to be 3 teams. We know Hanging with Hernandez is not getting in. And I have to predict, sorry guys, but Branditos, I don't know if you're going back to the playoffs this year. The roster improvements, while there were some, it might not have been enough. And it's going to be down to Mitch and Gronks for that last playoff spot. You heard it here, guys. You want to save the receipts, bookmark this page. We'll see you in the playoffs. That'll do it for the season recap. Before we get into this season's starting matchups, which I'm so pumped for, I want to take you guys into a new segment. I'm going to welcome in Stu and Nav now as well, my co-commissioners. As always, we try and represent this league with the utmost care and respect and transparency. And we thought we'd bring a new segment called the Commish Corner. We're going to sit down and break down the new bonus structures as well as some changes that are coming into the league both for this year and the 2025 season after this one. So without further ado, I bring you our newest segment, the Commish Corner. All right, everybody, welcome to a new section of the podcast. We're very excited to introduce the Commissioner's Corner here on the CFL Dynasty League podcast. It's a spot in the pod where we can take you guys through league changes, important updates, maybe specific dates. So with this being the first podcast of the new season, I have Stu and Nav, the trusty co-commissioners, with us to talk about the bonus updates, changes made to our bylaws, and then quickly touch on some changes that will start next year, 2025, but we do have some things that are different this year. So most exciting thing, let's kick it off with the bonuses. Stu, you're with us. Why don't you take us through what our bonuses are in season now?
Well, thanks, Steve. You know how much I love being called Stu, so really appreciate that for especially have it on the pod now.
I said it SEEW though. That's how I said it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I could feel it. I appreciate having us here today. So yeah, we introduced a couple new bonuses this year. A reference guide along with an email was sent a couple weeks ago here. And essentially they're both survivor pools. One is a, loser pool. Basically you have to pick a loser every week. Cannot pick the same team twice. And the other one is it's referred to as a TD eliminator, where essentially you have to pick someone that's going to get a touchdown, receiving, or rushing. And you cannot pick the same player twice. So you can't pick CMC every single week. You have to switch it out. If you, at any point in time for the survivor pool, you pick somebody who wins, you're out. If you pick someone who doesn't get a touchdown for the week, you're also out of that one. And it's going to go until there's one team left, one franchise left, and the winner will get $100 for each pool. Mitch was kind enough to create a website for us to track all of these, since the our normal site wasn't able to capture both pools, and all
That's
the
right.
details are in the email. Passwords were sent. If there's co-owners, there was one password for both of you. If you need to update the password, please get a hold of Mitch, our resident nerd, and he will update it for you. He's already done that for me. I believe he's done it for Steve as well, and a couple of other owners. It is brand new. We're hoping that it works throughout the year. If it doesn't, please know that we're going to revert quickly back to a manual process if needed, which is what we initially highlighted back in February when updating the bylaws. For now, we'll continue with this website.
We do have.
You have any questions, Steve?
Right. Yeah. Well, my question is, what are we going to do, Stu, if everybody gets knocked out in the same week?
Well, if that's a great question, Steve, and thinking on the fly, I would think that whoever is left over, let's say there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, and they all get knocked out in the same week. I think those 6 teams would just would do it all over again the next week, since they were tied for first, essentially, unless for some reason they wanted to split the pot at 50-50, $33 each, which they might choose to do so. Or $25 each if there's 4 of them, and I won't bore you with the math here, but I'll continue with that. But I think that would be a good solution. What do you think?
I like it. That's good. That is the one thing, and you see, we discuss these as a group live. Any oversights are always found and changed, right? Just like loopholes in the bylaws, we like to leave a little wiggle room and then close them immediately. I think this is a good one, though, without having multiple losses allowed. If there are ties in either the survivor pool or the TD eliminator, I think it's a great idea. We just roll one more week. Nav, any thoughts on that?
Steve, great thinking on the fly. I'd also like to add that the commish group values transparency and integrity above all. So thanks for creating Commish's Corner.
I think this is going to be a big hit with the rest of the league. Yeah.
Thank you for reading the prepared script. Yeah.
So TD Eliminator. We also have the Survivor Pool. I assume, Stu, you don't have to tell us how that works, but there are no multiple strikes. If you pick this is a loser Survivor Pool. I guess we should clarify that. You are not picking a team to win that week. You are trying to pick a loser every week. If the loser wins, you are out.
Or ties. They need to lose.
They have to lose. You heard it here first.
Yeah. That is correct.
I don't think we need to go into that one in too much depth, but just make sure everyone is looking at the reference guide that Stu did send out a couple weeks ago. Get in touch with Mitch if you cannot log on to the Kenja Time site, which sounds like it shouldn't be a website for fantasy football, but
sounds like a scam, but it is not.
We also have a returning bad beat bonus, as well as our perfect season bonus. Now, the bad beat bonus carried over $120 from last year, bringing the total, a rolling total after week 1 to $132. It could go up to as much as $240 by the end of the year. We had one winner last year. Nav won a rolled over pot in week 4. Ali Khan was our first winner 2 years ago. Unfortunately, he won in week 2 and netted himself a cool $24. So the bad beat is still going strong. We have had a winner every season. Will this be the year that you win? Perfect season bonus. Nobody was perfect last year. I'm not sure, Nav, you lost twice. You were pretty close. I did beat you one of those times.
That is true.
If nobody wins a perfect season this year, we could still have our first back-to-back, which would also trump
Steve,
the perfect season.
I hate to see the money.
I can't remember who won last year.
Steve, I hate to see the money accumulating and rolling over. So I think I'll just clean it up this year.
You'll do everyone in the league a favor, hey?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have any questions to the bonuses, guys, please, they aren't just the ones that are sort of like if somebody wins, we will let you know. You do have to be active. You do got to get onto the site. As of today, since it's probably Thursday that you're listening to this, but make sure by Thursday before the kickoff of week 1, you have your TD picks in and your Survivor loser pool picks in. We have a few other changes that are not bonus related. Obviously, we did make some changes to the bylaws themselves, and I thought I'd just kind of go quickly through this. We all know the new rule about the group chat. There is a mute button. If you want to utilize the mute button, do it, but nobody leaves unless I kick them out. Just kidding. I won't do that. I promise. Stu is giving me
That's
a
a
weird
lie.
smile. But guys, just stay in the group chat, because if we do have an important message to get out to the league, we want to put it in there.
I don't know why anyone would want to leave anyways.
It's engaging, right? We have a last place punishment for the first time ever. So whoever wins this year will be changing the team name for the last place finisher. This is going to be going off of regular season standings, I believe. And if, let's say, Nav happens to win again, he would, in this case, choose the losing team's name for the new season. We don't want to punish people too badly, but a little bit of a last place punishment is always kind of fun. So let's see how this one, let's see if it gets any traction. Another update from the bylaws this year: trade deadline is always week 13 before the start or kickoff of week 13. So this has just been clarified in the bylaws. Trade deadline is the Wednesday at 11 p.m. before week 13 starts. We also made some clarifications on using out players. And again, it's more clarification to the wording that's in the bylaws. Guys, just know you can't start out players in your lineup. And if you do, the 7th round pick, 6th round pick, 5th round pick, etc., as they stack, you will start losing those lower picks. If you don't have a 7th, it goes to a 4th, or sorry, the 6th. Hanging with Hernandez, probably not in too much trouble here, as they have 62 5th round picks for next season.
Steve, there was also a bit of a change on that timeline for out players, section 3S, A through F, where basically if declared active by Saturday 9 p.m., the player has to be removed from the starting lineup. The previous rule was just it had to be, I think, by Thursday. But for out players, we just decided that we're operating to fantasy. People can check lineups and statuses on players. And then if there is a Saturday game, this rule will be if declared active by Friday, 9 p.m. So just
okay.
can't.
So Thursday night, that's a bit of a freebie spot. If there are some last minute changes to your roster, we're giving you a bit of a grace period for the Thursday game. But if a player is playing on Sunday or Monday and they are either declared out before Saturday night, you have to remove them. If they are taken off IR or going back into the lineup, we still do have 1 week before you need to bring them from IR back onto your roster. Is that correct too?
I believe so, yes.
Yes. These are all outlined in section 3S of the bylaws too, if anyone other than Colton wants to go through and read them. We also have another change. I think everybody's aware of this, but the seeding for the bottom 5 teams is going to be based on max point fours, so optimal lineups for seeding. And this is obviously to encourage best lineups every week so that the commish group doesn't have to worry about going through everyone's lineup, making sure the fair play is being adhered to. Remember, seeding, max points 4. We have some changes to next year's rules too. So these are not in place for this season, but when you're making roster changes, when you're planning for next year, just know we are implementing more scoring, an additional half point for first downs, not for quarterbacks. So just be for positional players outside of the QBs. And it'll help balance out maybe some of the additional scoring. We still have tight end premium. We still have half point per reception. We're now adding half point for first downs for any non-QB players. I'm excited for this one. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's a good rule change.
Yes.
Yes,
it is.
nodding,
And it
nodding.
was
Good.
completely,
Yeah.
we all agreed. It was not Steve really wanting this at all.
Big
Thank you for
fan of
pointing
sports.
No, it's smart. It's smart to equal out across all the positions.
And this shouldn't change your strategy for this year too much, but at the end of this, our 4th season, we will have division realignment. So, don't worry about interdivision trades too much, because for next year, they may not be interdivision anymore. But those are 2 changes for 2025. We don't have to dwell on those too much. We can talk about them next offseason. Anything else you guys want to add here from a commissioner's perspective as we get ready for our 4th season of the CFL Dynasty League?
Yeah, just that, this brand new league, first of its kind, we've tried our best to make contracts fair, rookie contracts, follow-up contracts fair. We did pivot this year, with the new section 4J and BCD specifically, how we're going to do contracts. However, there could be more changes coming, minor changes coming, as we, implement this rule. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And any changes to rookie contracts or follow-up rookie contracts, it's done by keeping in mind what's best for the league and not for specific players. So we might make changes to rookie contracts like we did this year. And people like Nav, who have 1 million rookies from year 1 and 2, were affected, dearly. So if we make more changes, again, it's for the best of the league. It's for what's best for the league, not for specific owners.
Yeah, great points, Stu. So there will be some changes this offseason with our first set of rookie contracts expiring. Those proposed changes are in the bylaws, and they should start to be implemented this offseason. But as we discuss things more throughout the year, if there are more changes needed to be made, we can always leave that open for interpretation. So thank you for bringing that up, Stu. It's a great point. Nav, anything from you? Any words for the league before we sign off for the first round of games this season?
Steve, I'm honored to be part of this unique league, probably the best league of fantasy football in the entire world. So I'd just like to say, let's keep PAs to a minimum.
Agreed. Yeah, let's, especially for Ev's sanity, let's try and keep the PAs out of the chats, guys. Do your talking with your rosters.
Well
Anything
said.
else to add, gentlemen?
I'm good. Thanks for having us, Steve.
I'm so excited. This has been the first installment of the Commish Corner. Hope you guys liked it, and we can squeeze in more of these into the podcasts. So, as always, reach out to your owner liaison, which is Stuart. If you have any questions, contact Mitch. If you need some help with logging in, get those picks in for the new bonuses. Super excited. Again, like Nav said, most fun Dynasty League in the entire world. I'm very comfortable saying that. On behalf of Stu, Nav, the entire Commish group, we wish everybody a fantastic 2024-25 season. May the best team win, and let's try and win these bonuses too. That's what it's about, having fun. Enjoy the season, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks a lot, guys. Always great. Thank you for the help. I am sincere when I say this. I could not run the league without the help of Stu and Nav, but also without the help of everybody else. It is the managers that make this league the best one in the world. I've said that about 10 times this podcast, but I do truly believe it. Looking forward to more Commish Corner updates in the pod as we go forward, but here's the meat of the episode now, what we really got here to listen to. Here are our matchups for week 1 of the new fantasy season. Let's go. Ooh, and do we have some matchups this week? Let's kick it off with the game of the week. This one was determined as soon as the schedule was announced. It is the Lunch Kings, the Gronks, taking on the Lunch Maker, BK Whopper. We have a studded matchup to get through. I believe there's some bets on the lines for this one, boys. It's going to be a blast. Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson up against Jordan Love and Josh Allen. This could be the highest scoring game of the week. We are looking at an almost 300-point total on both sides, with BK Whopper actually with a slight advantage on this one. So the data has gone off to a 1-0 start, pulling away early Sunday, but we'll see what the Gronks have to say about that. Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, finally healthy coming into the season. Can the Gronks make it happen? This is going to be one to keep an eye on. Like I said, there's already some lunch bets flying around here for this, but Gronks would be pulling the upset if they can pull it off. Game of the week, the Gronks versus BK Whopper. Let's have it, boys. Go get some. Game number 2, another American League matchup. We have James taking on Stu and the Italian Stallions. Well, this one is a little bit closer, but James still projected to beat Stu by almost 15 points. Dak and Anthony Richardson should carry James to the victory, but like I mentioned in the preview, he's only one injury away from not having much depth on the squad. A little bit old in the tooth, too. Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, even Deebo Samuel. On paper, one of the best rosters in the league. Let's see if James can get it done. Stu's relying on Kirk Cousins, injured. Tua, still concussed. Achane, he gets hurt. Barkley, injury prone. Mixon, has he ever been healthy? Neighbors, rookie. Pittman, always hurt again. There it is. Garrett Wilson finally as a quarterback. Sorry, Stu, that might have felt a little bit harsh, but I'm just giving the facts as they are presented on paper. James takes week 1 against the Italian Stallions. Let's go. Last matchup in the American division. It's Hildy versus Hanging with Hernandez. And I mean, I'm not going to spend any time on this. Hildy projected with 116 points, and that is going to eclipse Hanging with Hernandez. The productive struggle is in full effect. I'm just excited to see Caleb Williams put up more points than Hanging with Hernandez's entire roster in week 1. Hildy, you get the free square on the bingo board in week 1. Hopefully we can all take advantage of that this year. But he's off to a 1-0 start, even though Hanging with Hernandez holds a 5-1 victory record against Hildy. It's going to be 5-2 at the end of this week. Moving over to the extremely competitive and difficult Canadian division, the newly minted resident nerd, his words, not mine. Mitch, we love the Kenja Time app. We love Statty Boy. Hey, maybe we even love you. But you're in tough against the White Russians this week. You're down by almost 20 points projected, and that's to Daniel Jones and Geno Smith. Is Chris really going to hammer you with those two quarterbacks running the line? He did make a lot of moves this offseason. As he always does, you got to hand it to Chris. He is one of the most engaged managers in the league. Mitch, you got Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. If that can't get it done, I think you got to restructure the entire lineup, man. White Russian takes it in the first week over the resident nerd. Next matchup, Banditos taking on the champ. Nav defends his title against Eric and Brandon, and this is going to be another high-scoring matchup. Nav's got the edge by almost 20 points, but this is actually the highest over-under of the week. We're looking at 141 points for the Banditos up against 162 for Nav. Star-studded. Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud against Jared Goff and Brock Purdy. It's going to be a blast. The edge might come down to the tight end position. Evan Ingram for Nav is going to outscore Cole Kmet, as much as I hate to say it. But Banditos, stealing CeeDee Lamb last year, getting better than market value for Justin Jefferson. Those two can win anyone a week, so I would not be surprised, and I am calling the upset on this show. Banditos are taking down the champ in week 1. You heard it here first. Now, this last matchup could have been the matchup of the week, but with one of the lowest over-unders, I decided not to put the captains versus Ev in there. We'll just watch and see how this one plays out. The captains completely retooled lineup, looking to crack 100 points, which may not be enough to beat the mighty Ev, with Gardner Minshew and Russell Wilson anchoring the team. But he does have Bijan, he does have Waddle, he does have Kelsey and Kittle and 18 other tight ends. Advantage Ev. I hate to say it, but in my heart, I still think I got the upset in the bag. Ev, I'm coming for you. Week 1 starts with a win for the captains on the road to the playoffs. That is our fantasy preview, and I am so pumped. Let the games begin, boys. We'll break them all down next week. We'll have some new content throughout the year in the pod. I hope you enjoyed the Commish Corner. I hope you enjoyed my voice for 45 minutes. Thank you for listening. Let's continue to make this the best fantasy football league in the world. From me and Stu and Nav, thank you for listening. Enjoy the season, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Commish out.